Hey folks, welcome into the News 12 Now desk. Thanks for joining us here. It's 10:30 on our Thursday, February the 15th. I've got Nick Viland joining me this morning up here at the desk. And if you don't know what these are, we're basically doing these little reporter deep dives where we take a story that we've been working on, whether it's the previous day, the previous week, something that's been going on for months, and we'll just bring it up here and talk about it a little bit more. So one of the big things on a lot of minds in Columbia County is this diverging diamond interchange that we've been talking about for years now. Stories going back in our archives as far back as 2020, even before that. So this is something that's been going on for a while, causing quite a few headaches over there in Columbia County. Nick, if you want to briefly talk about what this is and then show a story explaining it. We've got two stories here. Yeah. One talking about what it is and then one talking about some frustrations with it. So briefly, if you just want to tell us what this is.
Yeah, so pretty much on exit 190 on I-20, this project is looking to shift the traffic pattern. So what you would normally think of would be you're driving down the right side of the road. You're actually going to be shifting over to the other side. It's going to, basically ease traffic kind of into the highway and off the highway. That's the whole goal with this entire plan. And it's been years in the works, like you said, causing a lot of headaches to kind of get it done. And when it does get done, they are hoping that it does ease traffic on and off I-20 on exit 190. But this whole entire time to get to this final product has been taking a lot of time, and it's causing a lot of frustrations, which you're about to see in one of our stories. And then you're going to kind of get a rundown of kind of how I just described it. You're actually going to see it play out in action, kind of hear feedback from people as well. So that's a little bit of rundown. That's where it's going to be, and it's just going to be that on-off ramp and bridge off of exit 190 on I-20.
All right. So there you go. Now you got a little bit of an idea of what it is. We're going to go ahead and show you a little bit more in this first story. This was from January, I believe, January 4th. Our Hallie Turner did this story showcasing what it is.
Orange barrels here, orange barrels there, and all of this road work creating confusion everywhere.
They're always changing. They're always like changing the lane, or they want to do something in this lane, they were changing that lane, and it could be confusing.
Harner Cartret, along with thousands of other people, travel Lewiston Road multiple times a day.
In the morning times when I'm going to work, like 4 a.m., it really isn't that bad in the morning because there's no one on the roads. But in the evenings coming back from work, I come back around 5, and it can get pretty backed up on the interstate.
But leaders say the headache will soon be gone.
Yeah, the diverging diamond across I-20 is going to be tremendous. I know a lot of folks are intimidated by it, or the thought of working through it, but they're designed with the driver's comfort in mind.
Before the project can wrap up in July of 2024, another closure is on the way.
From noon on January 18th through 6 a.m. on January 22nd begins the 90-hour shutdown. This means for these 4 days, the following routes will be closed. Both on and off ramps for exit 190 eastbound and westbound, exit 190 interchange, exit I-20 overpass and Horizon South Parkway between I-20 East Ramp and Gateway Boulevard will be closed. But the good news is Columbia County engineers say Columbia Road westbound and Wrightsboro Road eastbound are two good alternate routes to take.
Our big thing is if you can, do your best to avoid this interchange at all costs during the closure.
Okay, so there you go. Now you have an idea of what it is, but you heard Hallie say in that story, going to be closing down from January 18th to 22nd. We'll get to that in just a bit, but Nick, you've been over this way plenty of times, so you've seen firsthand what they are talking about here. So give us an idea for what exactly things look like right now when you go over there.
Yeah, right now it's a lot of construction. You're weaving in and out of cones, and when you first trying to get off of I-20 on exit 190, it's going to get backed up around 4 or 5 o'clock. When our meteorologists go over the traffic during our shows, we have that cam that is positioned right on that on-off ramp, and cars are pretty much all the way off into the highway. So it's very congested once you try to get off that highway there. They're cutting down lanes, to make construction crews easier to get work done during this time. So it's a work in progress up there for sure. And, it's going to get a little delayed. So whenever we go to exit 190 and have to go up to Grovetown, we have to make sure that we're adding a few extra minutes so we know it's going to be a little bit more congested to get through that little small space of area.
Yeah, and so it's a headache right now, and it continues to be because this thing keeps getting pushed back. So originally we were set for, like we said, January 18th to 22nd, and here we are February 15th, and we still have not seen the work begin yet. So Nick, what has been the delay here?
So they're looking for pretty much 4 days roughly of pretty much perfect weather, it seems like at this point. They're trying to make sure that, you know, they can get as much work done as possible during that set period of time that they do have to close that entire section off. You're not allowed to get off of I-20, you're not allowed to use that bridge driving, so it's going to be a major headache and a lot of alternate routes during that time period. So the county's just making sure that that time period is used to the best of their ability. So if weather were to strike during that time period where it's closed, they might not be able to get as much work done as they might be able to. So, you know, they're making sure that those 4 days are possible. So the other times, like January 18th to the 22nd, some weather could have happened during that weekend. I believe it did. You know, rain a little bit that weekend, so that would have delayed the project a little bit. They added another dates, which, you know, the next story you're about to see was right after that delay was announced. And now it's pushed back to February 22nd to the 26th. So it's definitely getting pushed back more and more and more. And, you know, the businesses, like you're about to see, are getting frustrated because, you know, it seems like any hint of bad weather, they're still pushing this back more and more and more. And these businesses are trying to adapt to when this is going to be closed. So it's going to be a whole ordeal. And they're just kind of ready to see this take place so they can get over the hump a little bit.
And it's kind of this this situation of like, do we? It's like you shut it all down at once, and it's just going to take 4 days. We're going to be done with it, or it's like we shut it all down. It could take a little longer than 4 days, but at least we're getting it done. So, as you'll hear, businesses are kind of getting a little frustrated about that because it's like we just want to get this thing done because it's starting to affect business. So let's go ahead and show you this story that you did 1 week ago yesterday. So this was on the 7th that talk to businesses about how they're feeling about it.
Absolutely. We're right in the middle of Lewiston Road. As drivers head towards I-20, they'll see a new sign with new dates for when that bridge and ramp will be closed, and it's having businesses adapt. La Cocina del Rey, Docks Port Side. Two local spots located just by the on-off ramps of exit 190 in the middle of a construction hotspot. Now they're dealing with another delay for when the ramps are going to be closed.
Oh no, here we go again. Hopefully by this time now they can actually have a set date and finish off when they're supposed to.
Columbia County wants those to know that the delays have been because of potential weather over the 4-day stretch, impacting the amount of work that they can get done.
If they're hoping for a full 4 days without any kind of weather coming through this time of year, I think they're kind of hoping for a miracle because it's just a wet, kind of dreary time of year.
Businesses are trying to stay positive.
Hopefully we get a miracle and they, get a sunny weekend and get it done.
Docks Portside says that they lose out on around 20 to 30% of sales during what should be their lunch rush. Here's El Rey during their lunch. Empty.
It's just hard, if for us it takes us like the time to think about, should I go to Grovetown? I know our customers feel exactly the same way.
Businesses look to eventually get over the hump when the closure happens and normal traffic coming off the interstate won't be there anymore.
We hope that it won't be a business killer for the weekend, but we're just going to open up and hope for the best.
And again, those dates are from February 22nd to the 26th, where we see a lot of workers in safety vests in this area during that time period. And again, the county is asking those to remain patient as they try to get as much work done as they can when the weather allows them to.
So the county asking for patience, but for these business owners, it's running a little bit thin. Nick, what is the main concern for these business owners with these delays?
Yeah, well, there's a couple concerns that they have. The first one is, when is it actually going to be closed? Because when it comes to closing down, they know that business is going to take a little bit of hit that weekend. That one business owner knows that, he doesn't want it to be a business killer. They're going to try to make the most of it during that time period, but they know it's going to be a little less. So they might staff a little lighter. They might, adapt to different things that, the normal person might not think is a big concern, but it is, like less employees working, inventory a little less. You know, they're planning that out here and there. But, you know, if it's delayed again, then 2 days before, then these businesses are going to have to, you know, ask employees to come back in, get more shipments of food or this, that, and the other. So that's kind of one main concern with them. The other one is, you know, when it is finally closed down, is what's that going to look like? Not a lot of people are wondering that too. The owner of El Rey, they have a business on Washington Road and that one in Grovetown. Like she said, she has to consider every single time that she has to drive all the way up to Grovetown. So she knows that other people have the same thought process in their hands during that period as well. So it's, you know, it's just a major headache up there, and, you know, business owners are just, you know, trying to get through it. And, you know, they remain hopeful that, you know, once this does finally get done and it does take place, that, you know, business will be back booming in that area. But right now it's taking a little bit of a hit as, you know, they're trying to get this construction done.
So we've got this situation now where they could start a little sooner and maybe take a little longer, or start a little later and maybe it takes shorter. Have the business owners weighed in on which they would prefer, whether they just, look, start it now and if it takes a couple extra days, fine, or let's just wait it out, do the 4 days once we get the good weather?
Yeah, I mean, it's tough to say, but I would definitely say that the owner of, you know, Docksport side, you know, he kind of mentioned it in the sound bites that we used there. He just kind of wants to, you know, pull the Band-Aid off and, you know, take the hit during that time period of when they do have to close that entire section off. So it's definitely something that I probably heard when I went up there. I talked to many more businesses than just those two about the whole situation. And a lot of them are just, you know, ready for it to be over. So what I think, whatever it takes to wrap this project up faster, I think the owners are on board with that. And I think that takes kind of just ripping the Band-Aid off in their eyes of, you know, what's the best solution. But again, you know, this construction company, you know, the county has to do what's best for, you know, their protocols. So the county is just as frustrated as well that they're having to push it back more and more and more. So both sides are just kind of ready for this to wrap up, because obviously it's a major headache for everyone driving through that area.
Yeah, I mean, we're right at the finish line, yeah. So it's like, let's just get across, because we've been, like we said, we've been talking about this for years now.
Yeah.
The first story we found was 4 years ago, and that was just, Jesus, and that was just the first thing that we found on a quick glance. There could be stories even older than that. So the plan right now is next week. Mm-hmm. That is the plan. And
Thursday.
if we take a quick look at our 7-day forecast, doesn't go quite to Thursday, but it goes to Wednesday, and Wednesday looks mostly sunny. So hopefully things look okay. I'll have to ask Michaela during our first Alert Weather Extra show coming up here in a little bit if that's going to be enough. But hopefully we're able to get this done and get this stuff over with, because like we said, been a talking point for a very long time, been a headache for a very long time. Anything else we should know about this project before we wrap it up?
Yeah, well, I mean, if it does take place on Thursday, it's going to shut down at noon and go until Monday, I believe at 6 a.m. when it's going to reopen. So it's going to be that entire stretch of weekend and that Thursday, Friday for the most part, when you really can't even use exit 190. So you're going to have to go up to exit 184 in Apley and Harlem, or you're going to have to go down to exit 194 as well. To kind of use those alternate routes to get through that area and to get to where you need to go off of that exit. So when that does take place, that's how it's going to look, and we'll just kind of have to monitor the weather and make sure that everything stays smooth and they can kind of knock this out when they can.
So we're going to add a little bit of extra time onto the drive for one weekend. Hopefully we can all get past it, and like we said, get that construction done. They did put those lights in up there. It looks pretty nice. Very well lit when we show you the Grovetown cam in the mornings. That has become a very well-lit area. It looks very nice. All right, Nick Viland joining us live up here on the News 12 Now desk this morning. We appreciate the time.
Of course.
And folks, we appreciate you tuning in. We'll have First Alert Weather Extra coming up in just a little bit.